It's very difficult from a man's point of view. Like, yeah, we want to have kids, right? Maybe even my wife wants to have kids, but the career challenges for women having children in our society, especially in America, are far greater than ours.
On this episode of Consider That, we will be exploring the romantic drama, Not Easily Broken, and examining the declining marriage of Dave Johnson and Clarice Clark. How do you balance career ambitions and marriage? Is a successful marriage possible when there are differences in core values and desires like having children? How important is it to establish boundaries from outside influences? We will examine these questions and much more as we consider Not Easily Broken.
All right, y'all, so let's jump into this movie, Not Easily Broken. I'm gonna give you guys the synopsis. So this movie explores the relationship of a married couple, Dave Johnson, aka Morris Chestnut, and Clarice Clark, Taraji P. Henson. So Dave is passionate about having children. Clarice is resistant and feels like her priority should be her career as the financial head of the household. While Dave understands Clarice's position, he also feels that the amount she spends to keep up with reception is an issue. And if she scaled back on spending, they'd be able to support a child financially. As their issues grow, Dave withdraws and prioritizes more time with his friends and the Little League team, and develops feelings for another woman. Here's a question. How do you reconcile your partner's priorities, kids and a career, with your own, particularly when they conflict? And I kind of want to start with the married couple.
I knew it.
Oh, that's us. That's us.
That's you, son.
Okay. How did we prioritize? Like, let's say if my wife wanted to live a healthier lifestyle and she wanted to eat healthier, because we actually have gone through this, where it's like she liked to eat salads and all of these other healthy options. She's like, I want to go vegan. I just want us to go vegan. So that it's not just her going vegan, it's us, because we're one. So it's like, I'm like coming from my bachelor mentality, where it's like, I am eating burgers, pizza, chicken wings, all the things us guys like, right? That's kind of being disrespectful to like what she has presented to me. So like, that's your question, right? It's conflicting. So I think one of the biggest things is to make sure that I'm listening to my wife, to make sure that I know that we're on the same team. That's the biggest thing. Because it'd be disrespectful if like she like bought all these groceries and then I just order pizzas and all this other stuff to the house. I'm like, yeah, she can eat that, but I'm gonna eat what I wanna eat. So it's conflicting. It's like oil and water is just not working, right? For me personally, I had to learn that. It took some time, but I had to learn it, like that we're on the same team. I can't fight against my teammate. This is my one and only, you know what I'm saying? So it's like listening and making sure that I know that we're on the same team.
I agree.
So you're vegan?
Go ahead.
No.
Go ahead.
Well, I said, wait, you're not vegan now?
No, I'm not vegan,
Oh,
but
you're not vegan.
I do eat healthier. We do eat healthier, yeah.
When we met, I was like borderline vegan. Mm-hmm. And he's from Kansas, so he was just like eating barbecues, bacon.
Everything.
Y'all make me hungry.
He was drinking whole milk. Like he didn't even like drink Oatly or any of that. Just reckless. But we did meet in the middle eventually, like after we got married 2.5 years later. And he was like, all right, I see how this is affecting you. So we do have unhealthy eating patterns, but we also have healthy eating patterns. Like we just meshed it together now. So just finding a way to compromise. So listening and not completely changing him, because he's his own person, but just like meeting in the middle.
That's it.
So I'm curious to know, was it something that was maybe easier to do because you knew there were health benefits, with what she was proposing? Because I love the way you guys like went about it, and then even in this conversation and the way they were talking about each other, I felt like there was support. She's like, I mean, he's his own person, so of course I'm gonna, Yeah. But is it a little hard if it's something like, I guess let's go back to the movie where it's like one person wants kids and the other doesn't, like that's gonna really change Clarice's situation for sure.
Absolutely. The benefits to it is just like more energy. Of course, like I'm living a lifestyle where I care about my health, and that eventually, like when I cross that line into older age, I will be able to reap those benefits of more healthier eating. Because it's like, we only get one body. This is one temple. If we destroy this, it's over. And so that was one of the benefits that I found from it.
Pivoting over here, I mean, what do you all feel about compromise? Did you feel like Clarice versus Morris Chestnut, like, where was the division and where could you kind of see them coming together at a better place?
Yeah, once you involve children in the situation, it's difficult, and it's really challenging. And one of the things that when you're married or when you're going to get married is you have to have that conversation, and you have to be lined up before you get in it. I mean, there's a lot of times, like, I've known a lot of like my friends and coworkers, like, they love this person, they're with this person for X amount of years, and all of a sudden they're not anymore. And the question, I'm like, oh, what happened? Kids. Somebody wanted to have them sooner than the other person was ready to have them, and especially. It's very difficult from a man's point of view. Like, yeah, we want to have kids, right? Maybe even my wife wants to have kids, but the career challenges for women having children in our society, especially in America, are far greater than ours. So that's one of the things where it's just like, wow, what do you do, right? And you can't deny the desire to have children, but like for a woman, like let's just say someone's a lawyer or even if they're not the main breadwinner in the house, if their career is important to them, that can really derail their career, and it shouldn't, but it does in our society, and that's a problem. And then you have to have that compromise. I think the biggest thing is having that conversation before you get into it.
Yes. As
best you can, because people change. You might have the conversation and like, yeah, we're gonna wait 5 years, and all of a sudden after 3 years, somebody's like, either someone's like, yeah, I don't really want kids anymore, or hey, let's have kids now. So. I mean, it just has to be a constant communication, talking to other people that are in the situation as well too, getting advice from people that went through it, I think is important as well.
It sounds like there's no compromise for that type of situation though. It's either you want it or you don't. Or let me know if you know there's a compromise.
So, it's tough. It's tough. Anyways, like, cause then it gets into like individual people, right? So and I feel like as the male in a situation, you gotta be willing to bend more because it's not our bodies going through it, 1. 2, it's also not our careers that get derailed as badly as they do. Even like I've talked to a lot of people in HR in my career. And I have this really good friend in HR, and she told me, like, when we're interviewing people, like, if you come into an interview as a male with a wedding ring, that's a positive thing. Stability, you got a family, you're gonna show up to work on time. You're not gonna be out partying all the time. Just things that people have in their head. It's not like it's a checkbox, but it's just implicit bias. And a woman comes in with a wedding ring. The implicit bias is if she doesn't have a family already, she might be ready to start her family. That means that she's gonna be out of work for an undisclosed amount of time. Or people also consider, is she gonna come back to work after she starts raising a family? And like, these are things that women have to deal with. So like, as men, we have to, hey, I know we both want kids, but the timing has to be right for both of us. And even if you have to wait longer as a male, yeah, I mean, it's not a bad deal, because the bad deal is actually on the female side, because just to have a child, like this beautiful thing that we all should be allowed to do, there's so much sacrifice that has to go into it. So there's no fact book for compromising, right? It's really just gonna depend on the people and what everyone can tolerate.
I also feel like there's a blessing that comes with children. We don't really talk about that so much. We just talk about how much we have to compromise as parents, or we have to put our career on hold. It's a huge blessing that comes with the childbirth. And for instance, my son, it's when we walk for our daily walks, we get the whole sidewalk. Like, I don't think you understand. No, I'm so serious. It's a level of respect when we go to the grocery store. It's a level of positivity. It's a level of community. Everyone that has children, they treat you different. It's a lot, even opportunities. So I feel like Clarice, just to bring us back to the movie, Clarice, she's missing out on a blessing that she doesn't even know about. She can't see the future. She only sees her present state and her own goals at that present time. Whereas I feel like David, he's thinking bigger picture, which most men are, especially black men. We're thinking legacy immediately. And she's not. She's thinking, all right, I can move up. I can sell this house. I can move up. I can get this sale, this commission. I can now be the head honcho. She's looking for empowerment. But little does she know, the most empowering thing is family.
I do wonder, how has your life changed or evolved since having a child?
Oh my gosh, great question, sir. It's my career literally went through the roof. I'm gonna be honest with you, like overnight. Wisdom from all the elders, anyone that has children, anyone that's a senior citizen or a seasoned professional, whatever it is, they just pour into you, giving you nuggets of things to carry on your journey of alchemy, right? It's a lot of different things that people pour into you just because you're a father. You and mother, you automatically are part of a community that you don't even know how vast the ocean can go. And then once you start to realize you're on that boat, you think it's only you, once you see a freaking yacht pull up to you, then you feel like you see a canoe and everyone's smiling. Some arguing, but at the end of the day, everybody's coming together for that big boat party. You feel what I'm saying? So I just think that my career went through the roof. My relationship with my own parents, my own father and my mother, I understand their dynamic now because I didn't understand it when I was a child. Sometimes I'm like, okay, my dad, and my mom, you guys don't understand it. You guys leave me alone. Now that I'm a father and I'm married as well, and I'm looking at it like, okay, wait, they did the best they can do. And he did it right because I'm able to have my own family. So now that they're still breathing and living on this world, what can I do right now to be able to show my gratitude? I wasn't in the gratitude state in the beginning because I didn't relate. Now I do. So I feel that, and the conversation is different. The dynamic between my parents is different. So I get a chance to be able to sit in that chair and have that beer. You know, we need some beer sponsors in this, you know. You know what I'm saying? I got that beer in there and I get a chance to have a very, very, very intense, grown conversation. You know what I'm saying? And that right there, that's priceless because I carry that throughout my days and I become fearless, right? Like my son looks at me like I'm a freaking hero. I wake up every morning and I look at my child and I realize like, wow, I am Superman. Wife looks at him and like, wow, I am Superwoman. So now I look at my wife, I'm like, hey, we're super duper. You know what I'm saying? And then when you feel that, you go outside, you can't be touched individually. Now, when you go out as a whole, was it Pixar, Incredibles or whatever? Yeah. Yo, I didn't even know I was gonna be able to link it like that. You know what I'm saying? But it's incredible. Like, it's incredible. People feel that. Even when I go to the club, right? I go to the club, my wife, I'm looking at everybody else. We chilling. We not even looking to be in the mix, right? But the mix comes to us. It's just crazy how like you guys just look so happy. You know, I'm just all right, cool. Wait until you see our son because we're happy because we have him. It's a blessing. Like it really is a blessing. So when I watch this movie, I'm listening to it and I'm just like, I hear the career. She's chasing something that she don't even know she wants. She don't even know. Meanwhile, Morris Chestnut is getting fulfillment and coaching these young boys and seeing the dynamic with the kids and their fathers and all that other stuff. And he wants to be able to, he's a leader. Cause like, you know, when I played sports, who was the father figure when, you know, you were an athlete? Who was the father figure when you was on the, you know, training and all that stuff? It was your coach, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Taught us discipline, helped us manage our emotions, right? Cause it's like when you lose, we all put our heads down when we lose, right? Oh, put your head up. Even if you don't mean it, you over here like. Never let a hard time humble you.
I want to pick up on something you said because you mentioned how you're now able to go to your parents. But I think in the film, we actually saw how Clarice's mom was kind of putting negative thoughts into her head.
Absolutely.
And I'm curious, what happens when you're getting advice that may not be as sound as maybe you even think it is?
It's your mother, you gotta listen. She's in a very unique situation. So she has to honor her mother, right?
Even if it's bad advice?
She didn't know that at the time. Because she knows her mom is always looking for her best interest. But she needs to, once you get married, right? You separate from your parents and you cling to your spouse.
Right.
That was her moment. That was why it was so pivotal for her to do that. And like, hey mom, I don't wanna end up like you.
Rick, I kind of got a difference of opinion. So I think when in our relationship, I can speak to, it's like we're creating something we didn't see. So I understand I have to protect this at all costs. I'm not gonna disrespect her mother at all, but I will, you know, state my opinion and address it because I know that at the end of the day, who going home with her? Me, right? So it's like, yes, I respect my elders. I was raised up like that, but at the same time, like even with my family, Sabina is amazing at catering to my mom, catering to my parents, and really like pouring in, but she's real. She does that with a slice of reality as well. Like, hey, look, like this is your son. You know him. You know your son, but that's my husband. You know what I'm saying too. And I gotta stop you right there, because she knows that it's God first and then it's her. You know what I'm saying? And then and we're creating this whole ecosystem, you know.
Just thinking about like both of what you guys said, like it's interesting because with like Clarice, her mother was teaching her from a place of hurt and pain. And I connected with that because I feel like my mom did the same. Her mom taught her, you gotta be strong, you gotta be successful, you gotta be independent, you gotta be able to do it by yourself. Where I learned that, my parents have been married for like 30 something years, but my mother still had that mentality. And I didn't see her like loving and touching and affectionate, and she didn't teach that to me. So yes, listen to your parents, but at the same time, I have to listen to myself, because I think Taraji, or what was her, Clarice, she knew. She chose to ignore the red signs that she saw in her mom. But you know, like she gave the example. I saw my birthday, I saw you and something about her and her parents. She noticed a situation. So you always know, but you choose to ignore it. So I make the conscious decision to not, oh God, this is on film, to not be like my mother in certain aspects. But yeah.
I think everyone kind of does a degree of not trying to be their parents.
Yeah.
There's things that my mom did. Like my mom raised me by herself. She did best she could, right? And my mom's super smart, but you know, she's got like she may be like 1.5 masters, whatever. But she's also like super emotional. She's a Caribbean Jamaican woman. She don't care. Like she carries that proverbial C4 at all times. She's ready to blow a situation up. I like that. Yeah, she's ready to blow a situation up. And I've learned, like I've seen her do it over the years. I'm like, I remember I was like 16. I'm like, she's like, oh, let's quit today. I'm like, you did what? I'm like, what do you mean? And she's just like, I don't want to deal with these people anymore. So like as I grew up, I'm just like, I'm not gonna do that. Like I'm gonna even if I don't like the situation, let me use like my talent, figure out a different situation, and then I will go through. So like I think we all do things, like we see things our parents did, or we grow up and we're just like, they were doing their best, but I probably don't want to do that. I'm not gonna put that in my playbook. I'm gonna go a different way. So, and that's part of that goes into like the gratuity of like the gratitude of like you grow up and now you have your own family and you're like, I see what y'all are doing. I see how hard it was. I might go in a different direction, but I'm still grateful for sacrifice that like our parents made for us. So
this group is so respectful.
I know.
Healed or working towards it. Go y'all, seriously. I'm curious because if I were Clarice, so I'm not married. We're in a whole circle here of married people.
I'm not married either.
Yes. But I'm curious. I love the fact that you brought up about all the blessings of having children, because I know a lot more people nowadays are thinking about not having kids, which is a new thing for us, right? And I do think it's because a lot of the negatives are emphasized oftentimes. That's what's on my head when I'm trying to figure out, do I want, do I not? I don't know. So thank you for that little nugget. I appreciate that. But I'm curious now, if I were Clarice, I'd want to know, how are you going to help me balance this as a father so that I'm not going to feel overwhelmed? Because that is personally one of my concerns. Like, I don't even have the time right now to balance another child. So like, how would I do this? If I had a partner and we go about it in the way our parents did, and I as the mother have the role that my mom had and most of our moms, that's overwhelming for me.
We're not coming to the child's life, the child's coming into our life, right? And the number one thing, shout out to my wife for this, is routines. Children need routines. So if you have structure in your own individual life, and once your child is born and you incorporate your child's into your routine, what has to change? I just think that we go into it thinking like, oh, now disruption. Like, no, get organized, take a step back. You have 6 months to prepare, right? Like mentally to organize your day or whatever. Okay, I'm gonna wake up every day at 7 a.m. so I can be able to or I'm gonna go to sleep at 8 a.m. so I can be able to have enough rest to be able to wake up at 7 so I can be able to attack my day with velocity, right? And then it's your child. It's a lot that when you see your baby, like the baby that you pushed out, it's like, it's priceless. Like it's nothing you won't do for that person. You feel what I'm saying? So the reason why Clarice is talking about, how's this going to disrupt my life, this, that, and the third, she doesn't even know what her baby looks like yet. Like, if she actually can hold her child in her hand, that's when she will cry and realize, like, wow, I just need to have time so I can pour into this seed. Forget all of this. The new legacy is in my hand. It's not about me anymore. So she won't understand it until she's at the hospital holding her baby. Because that's when that aha moment, because I had it as a father. You know what I mean? Like, I left that hospital a different man, yo. It was, woo! Woo!
I can play a little devil's advocate with that one, right? Because it is. I tell people all the time, and I keep it real with everybody. I think we might have talked about this before with the kids. I said, man, if you got hopes and dreams, don't have them yet, because kids don't care about your hopes and dreams. The kids don't care about your hopes and dreams. Like, if you have hopes and dreams as an adult, things that you want to do, things that you want to accomplish and get to, like, it gets challenging. It's not impossible, of course, but like, I just give people that, hey, if you have hopes and dreams, be mindful, because once they come, to your point, you bring them home, and this is your life now, right? So like, I think part of it is like Clarice, like, hey, this is gonna disrupt my life, right? How is this gonna work? And that's a question at all times. That's a question, even for me to get here, that was a question this morning. My wife runs a prenatal yoga business. So she had a class this morning, and it started at 9:30. Now, I put on the calendar weeks ago, 10 a.m., I'm out of Dodge. So she's just like, oh, do I need to bring her? I'm like, yeah. You're gonna have to. I can't bring her. Like, so like, it's times like that. And like, hey, like, you have to realize, and then that's just a small example. Of course, like, careers and being driven and what you want to do. Like, I tell people it's super hard. You got to make all these sacrifices for children, but it's the most gratifying thing you're ever going to do. There's no replacement for the feeling you get being a parent, but it is hard. There are sacrifices, and like I'm super hyper focused person. Like, once I get into the mode of trying to like solve a problem, like I'm out of here. It's like, I'm an astronaut. So you have to, like, your partner has to know that about you as well too. And then like, I also have to like bring myself back from it sometimes. So like, and I travel a lot for work. So I'm gone at least once a month, sometimes twice a month. So that's just my wife. They're together. They're just, okay. She has to figure it out, but she knows that already. Like, we talked about it beforehand when you be like, hey, we're gonna have kids. I'm like, hey, I'm only gonna travel more. Like, as I keep on going further and doing more, it's gonna be more challenging. So what are we gonna do about that? And then like with her career as well too, wanting to run her own business, I also know that a lot of times on the weekends when she's doing things, all right, well, that's my time, right? Like, so in the mornings, she does a lot of morning stuff. I do a lot of evening stuff. And then sometimes I mix it up and I'm like, oh, I got a meeting that got canceled at 9 a.m. I'll take her to school. I'll take her to school and drop everybody off. So it's that, but like, it's just a constant like balance. So like, but it's hard to see it. So I can understand someone like, how are we gonna do this? Because it's a lot of logistics.
I love your whole point. Like, it's phenomenal. Like, you guys' points go together. It's definitely a lot of sacrifice. And then on top of that, add the pressure, because we don't have kids yet. Add the pressure of everybody wanting you to have kids.
Yeah.
And everybody wanting to see this little you come out a certain way, right? And it was they're like, you ain't had kids yet? Are y'all working on it? Are you working toward it? Like, well, what are you doing? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And then it's like your parents and everybody else thinks something's wrong.
Yeah.
But maybe like we're trying to get ourselves together. You know what I'm saying? We're going through counseling actually, because we want to be right before this little person comes. Yeah. You know, we want to be good. There's so much undoing we have to do of traits and stuff that we've learned that we don't want to pass on to this little person. And I get it. Kids pay attention to everything you do. So there's some stuff you won't be able to avoid. Mm-hmm. But I know the things that the big things that I really want to work on and dissect before this little person comes. Like, I didn't grow up with my father, you know? So I got to learn what that is and how to do that. Reading, whether it's reading books, hanging around getting my mentors, people that are fathers that are in the game and doing it. I want to do that. Before anything, I don't want to just go into this blind, because I know sometimes people get into situations where it's like, okay, the baby's here and now we got to figure it out, right? That was my mom and my dad. So I showed up, and then like now we got to make it work, you know? But I think it's great to take the time that you need. Like you said, it is a sacrifice. And when you are ready to make it, to your point, it's the most fulfilling thing we know ever.
Yeah, just to add on real quick, me being like my career right now, you may know, it's so busy. And I think about what time, I connect with Clarice a lot. I'm like, shucks, what am I gonna do with a baby? Like, I do wanna have kids. I want a little me, a little you, but where do we put the child? And I know you're like, the child comes into your routine, but like, where do we put that child? Like, I'm literally thinking our careers are picking up, and it's like, I don't want to step back. It's a little selfish. I don't want to stop my career from growing. The beauty in it, though, is that I work in a company where it's all women. So I do have that plus bonus where they're like, if you have children, it's fine. They understand. But the directions that it's going in, I'm like, I don't know if it's going to be fine. I have no time. Like, I'm always tired.
All right, do y'all remember that scene in the restaurant where Clarice insisted that Dave pay, and then, he was trying to give her, he was like, no, I don't want to pay. Fast forward, he gives the card, his card is declined. Oof, the client had to end up paying and covering the meal. That was a lot, right? So I'm curious, when you think about that part and you think about this film, in your opinion, how does the film portray the role of a man when we think about masculinity and in the context of this relationship?
What is masculinity?
we was waiting to exhale.
I think I'll jump in because I do think the way the film presents it, the man needs to be able to do it all, right? And I think when I think of do it all, provide, especially the way Clarice's mother presents how her daughter should be treated. He should be able to provide, have a great job, make sure he has money, attend to her needs. If he wants to do his little thing with the baseball team, he needs to do it without getting in the way of their relationship. And he still has to almost temper his wants and needs. He wants children. And I think Clarice and her mom are saying like, hold up. And I think oftentimes, if you go on Twitter a lot, I'm on Twitter a lot. I think we see that masculinity is presented in a way where men do have to almost do it all. I don't know if the reality is such. Obviously, I think the fact that this film was made over a decade ago, masculinity has evolved over time, but I do feel like the man in the film had to kind of do a lot, and he wasn't ready to do so. And so it just put a lot of pressure on him, and I don't think he was ready to take on that pressure.
I see it as David had a lot of love to give, right? In the beginning of the movie, he's trying to pour his love to his wife, and she's not receptive to it. She's like, I got this going on, I got this. And David's like, all right, well, I have so much love to give out. Who's willing to listen? It was those boys on that baseball field. They were listening. So he has so much love to give out to not just one child, but the community of athletes that's on that field.
And a white girl, too.
I mean, we're not gonna talk about that right now. We're gonna get to that next one, you know what I'm saying? So like, the whole, it's certain that he's searching for, right? He got injured, he's an athlete himself. He didn't get a chance to achieve his dream, but he sees his wife flourishing. He's supportive. Hey, that's great for you, that's great for you, that's great for you. He wants to contribute, he wants to be the contributor. He's not, you're always talking about yourself. He didn't come at her at that angle. He could have been petty, like, oh, here we go, about you. You're always talking about work. You didn't ask me about my day. He didn't do that. He listened, received.
She didn't ask him. Oh, dang.
Of course not. Exactly. Let's get to exactly. Let's talk about it. That's the next question, then, right?
The next conversation.
Exactly. She never, not once did she ask, how was your day? He was an athlete that was about to go to the league due to most athletes' injury that stopped him. What if he wanted that child to be him? So if she just listened, took a step back and just listened to the fact that he just wants to add value. That's all he does. He has so much love. So it's this tug of war situation where sometimes, I don't want to say all women, but some women need to understand that if you listen, if you just stay still and listen, everybody can win. It's possible. Everybody can win. Like, I don't know why. And it was frustrating when I was watching the scene. I'm just like, oh, bro, this guy is such a good brother. Like, come on. How can't you not ask him how was his day? He's in this beat up. You don't think he feel that? She talk about, oh, you in that beat up van? I know, I'm driving it. The mind is your worst enemy, right? We're so critical of ourselves. Imagine if your partner that's supposed to mirror you is regurgitating that and speaking life into your reality that you subconsciously telling that to yourself. And black men, we can't really have an outlet. And I love the scene where he just went to the music, because I do that. I listen to jazz music when I get upset or I get angry. I just put on my headphones and I just vibe out. And I love that they added that in the movie. And then he was able to be able to recalibrate himself and remember a moment where he was happy, which was all slow jam. So he's a lover boy, obviously. You know what I'm saying? So she got herself a good one. Now you mentioned the Caucasian woman later on, right? She was selfless in the very beginning. I feel like that's what kind of attracted those two. He has his wife that is very self-absorbed and all about herself. And then he goes outside and he meets someone else that is very loving for others, pouring into others, just like he's pouring into others. So love begets love, right? So it was easy for him to be able to feel that energy and remember it. You remember how people make you feel, not what they did to you. He doesn't want to embarrass his wife. He loves her unconditionally. Now, that's another thing now, because I feel like I'm going to just drop the grenade right now. Women love on condition. I hate to say it. It seems like it. If you can cross off these X's, you got my love, daddy, type of thing. Whereas with, what's up, brother? You on my side or what?
That's interesting. That's interesting. I'm with you.
I'm just saying.
But are you following?
I'm just, you know what I'm saying? I'm just going.
I'm with you. I had a couple things. I was thinking about something Mark said, and then you said that, and I'm watching the grenade tick. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
I was like,
conditional.
I was like,
conditional.
Yeah. Am I gonna just cover this joint up, or I'm just gonna let this joint erupt?
No, I think we got like 5 more seconds, so I'm gonna kick it off to you. It's
So-
gonna blow up in your face then.
Don't worry about it. Leave it. So I was thinking about what Mark said about what is masculinity, right? Like, has it really evolved from what we saw in the movie? Go on Twitter, you see like there's still like, gender roles, relationship roles still exist. And I'm like always like, I'm very interested in these conversations because everyone should be able to do what everyone else can do, right? There's no, I gotta do this because I'm the man, or you gotta do this because you're the woman. Oh, people gotta eat. Everybody should be able to cook. Kids gotta go get dropped off. Everyone should be able to go. Kids gotta go to a birthday party. Either one of us. It should be interchangeable. So it shouldn't be like, oh, my wife's gonna do this because she's the woman, or I'm gonna do this because I'm the man. Whoever makes more money, it's whatever, right? Maybe we lean on that, and then maybe this pendulum switches, and that somebody takes the baton. It's like, all right, cool. I'm now doing this. Now you don't have to kill yourself to do this. Now maybe you can start doing something you like to do. Like there's all these things. So that's the way I look at masculinity and relationship roles. It's a relationship. It's two people. It should be boom. That's it. Either one of us. Well, the only thing I can't do is breastfeed, pretty much. No mammary glands.
The one. And yet another topic.
So I was gonna grenades on the table. It's still on the table, right? So it's an interesting thought, and I do think that if you want to generalize it, I think we want to talk about the past and how relationships in society have evolved. I do think that in the past, that was a lot more prevalent with like women loving on condition. And I think that part of that was because of the male role in a relationship where you're supposed to do these things. So, hey, as a woman, you're like, hey, this is what I'm being told in society that a man's supposed to do for me. So if you ain't checking these off, then why am I messing with you? So like as relationships have evolved, people have evolved, and like we have like more of a neutral aspect of things. I think that that's less now with the conditions. Not to say it doesn't exist. I do think that it still exists out there. Like I can just talk to people. I know people. It's just like, I need X, Y, and Z. But men do it too. Men as well have conditions, right? Like in terms of like, I need a woman that does X, amount of things, right? If it doesn't happen, then I can't love that person, even if you kind of do. So I think it exists. I don't think it's as general as it used to be, though.
One of the things that I feel like I keep feeling and hearing, it's almost as if now for women, one of their things is, I'm not ready for a child yet. And that's like the new when men say, hey, I'm not ready for marriage. But bringing it back to the film, I feel as though we literally saw David pull back from his wife. Even though he had all this love to give, he began to pull back. And so coming to you, the married couple, how do you make sure that even when challenges arise, you don't let go of that rope and you kind of stick it out with each other?
First and foremost, remembering why we fell in love with each other and remembering what we have. It's not so much as like always, because like a lot of people like, oh, you can't expect me to be that person I once was, you know what I'm saying? Because you'll never get that person back. I'm a different person now. I was like, no, but what we built then and who we are now is like, we get to see the trajectory of the growth. Like we built something when we came together and now we're this force. We're definitely a covenant. We're building a future. As Rick said, like we're building a legacy. You know what I'm saying? And what that means. And whether kids come into the picture, whether we move to a different state, whatever choice we make, we get to do that together. We have a friendship. This is my best friend right here. You know, all day, every day, I know no matter what, she got my back. And she's always gonna hold me down. Like, that's how I hold on to our covenant. That's how I hold on to our relationship, our marriage. I always remember that she got my back no matter what. And you know, this is my boo.
Don't try to butter me on camera.
You know what I'm saying?
It's on camera. It's on camera.
It's on camera. She better watch this back. You know what I'm saying?
Sabina, before you answer, I want to say, because I think he made obviously a lot of great points, but he mentioned something you have to remember why you fell in love. But the reality is 5 years, 10 years, 15 years later, you are two different people. And even though you may be remembering that reason why you fell in love, you're no longer those people, whether it's your career, the way you move throughout this life, your thoughts, your views on things. And so even when you as people change, how do you still hold on?
So wisdom from older couples who've been married for a long time. There's something that we did when we got married. We wrote a letter to ourselves 5 years from now. And then we'll continue it 5 years later, we'll write another letter. Because you're reminding yourself of those emotions. You're reminding yourself of how you felt, like those jitters, because you forget it after 5 years. We also do temperature checks. So how you doing? How has things been? Like, are you good? Are you cool? Like, and we'll just sit there and talk. So I think conversations is what gets you by. And also, like another married couple once told me as well, when you get old, conversations are what holds you. The looks are gone, the sex is gone. Hopefully not. But when you're 80, 90, if God allows us to still be here, the friendship is what holds you. So I agree with friendship. The conversations is, I don't know how much to stress that. That's the biggest part. Yeah. We talk all the time about everything. So it won't catch us off guard.
And I also wanted to say the faith too is what holds us, our faith.
How did I forget?
Yeah. That's what keeps us.
It's like, the glue.
Literally, like it's the center of our relationship. That's what we founded our relationship on. And that's what continually keeps us like pressing forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Honestly, as one of the single people, let me know if you agree, Marquise, but I feel like I just got like a lot of like some good nuggets here. Things that I honestly will keep in mind for my future relationship. So I just want to say thank you, and I hope that a lot of people who are watching also have a lot to take away from it, because you guys, we don't get to have these conversations often, and I do think that's part of what contributes to a lot of failed marriages, not having that wisdom, as you mentioned, from successful couples like yourselves. So thank you, y'all. I have to cheers to Black excellence. Thank you for joining us tonight. We appreciate it.
All right, y'all. So Not Easily Broken came out in 2009. And I feel like when they talk about Black film and Black cinema, a lot of people focus on the 90s. But a lot of dope films came out between 2000 and 2010. So I'm curious, what's like in y'all top 3, top 5 Black films?
Two could play that game. I watch it every year.
Why? I'm really curious. Like, I'm really curious.
Okay. Because first of all, Morris Chestnut, the finest man to walk this earth. And then you got the roll of the eyes, the hateration, all good. And then Vivica Fox, she's a classic. Like her acting, like she just always, I love her. I loved her during that. Oh shoot. But I think I was like in middle school when that came out, so it was my first like intro to the way this dating world works. You know what I'm saying? Via movie and the rules and whatnot. I've grown since then. No one judge me, but yes, I love the movie and I do watch it every year.
Okay. So it's stood the test of time.
For me, it has.
Okay. Who else? What's in y'all top?
I would say Deliver Us from Eva. I loved it. I feel like I watch it every year as well.
Okay.
It's funny, it's romantic. What is it called? Like rom-com? What would you say? Yeah. And then plus it's my sisters, like it's 3 of us and it was 3 of them. So just seeing their dynamic, I think that's what I like the most.
Do you think Gabby's a strong actor?
I think so.
I'm just asking.
I mean, did you love that? I feel like I was like,
I don't even know if that's in my top Gabby movies. Personally, I don't even think about that.
I think it put her on a map for me. Like when I saw that movie, I was like, oh, like who's that? So yeah.
What's your top Gabby movie? Now you just said it. Now I gotta know.